Welcome to the You Were Designed for Greatness podcast. Each week we will bring you inspiring tips, stories, and ideas to help you be all that you can be, discovering your greatness. Featuring Donna Tashton. Donna is a transformational life and health coach, a highly sought-after public speaker, and the founder of Vibrant Living. She has helped hundreds find a better life, free of stress and living the greatness they were truly designed for. And now, your host, Donna Tashton.
Hello and welcome to podcast number 45. I am excited for you to hear my conversation with Dr. Keli Christopher. And stay tuned at the end. I have another free gift for you. So without further ado, let's listen. Hello and welcome. This is Donna Tashton, and I would like to welcome you to You Were Designed for Greatness. Today, I have a new friend that I have met. Keli, say hello to everyone.
Hello, everybody.
I'd like to welcome you, Keli, and it's been a joy as we've spent some time getting to know each other. Why don't you tell our listeners about yourself?
All right. Well, my name is Keli Christopher, and I am pretty much born and raised in Grand Rapids, Michigan. I grew up with a great family. My parents, as well as my extended family, aunts, uncles, cousins, a large family actually. And I grew up in a family of educators. My grandmother and several of my aunts, even my mother, all teachers or educators of some kind from preschool to college level. And that was a wonderful place to begin. It gave me a really great start. Even though I grew up in an urban school, a school that maybe some would consider, inner city school with probably students with less resources, I had a great education. I grew up not really enjoying math. I was more of a writer and always been kind of reserved. But then I went to middle school and started really enjoying math, high school. Eventually, I decided to go into engineering. I went to North Carolina A&T State University, which is in Greensboro, and it's a historically Black college. It produces many Black engineers, so that's one of the reasons I wanted to go there. But then I went to University of Illinois for graduate school, and I got my PhD there. At that time, well, even as of now, I'm the only Black person to get a PhD from that department. And I'm the third Black woman in the world to have a PhD in agricultural engineering. So it's not a very diverse field. I've definitely had experiences with racism and just generally socially being left out of things. But it's an experience that I can use now in my work with the nonprofit that I have, which is the STEM Greenhouse. And STEM stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math. We're trying to prepare vulnerable students, children of color, for careers in STEM.
Awesome. So the only 3 Black women in the world have an agriculture engineer. What does an agriculture engineer do?
Well, agricultural engineering started off as a division of mechanical engineering for those people who were specializing in agricultural equipment, tractors, things like that. But it branched out to different fields. Some things are closer to food science, the people who put cereal in boxes and things like that. Me personally, my specialty was soil and water. So that means I focus on water quality, erosion, pollution due to agricultural chemicals, water supply, things like that.
So I bet you have a garden.
I do, and which is funny because when I was studying agricultural engineering, I never had a garden. But I've started gardening just because my house looked so bad. I had to start gardening. It's become a passion. But yeah. So when I first started in agricultural engineering, the thing that really drew me to it was the environmental aspect of it.
Okay.
Being able to solve environmental problems. And I usually work for the U.S. Department of Agriculture, before I started doing this work in the Natural Resources Conservation Service. And so I worked in Illinois and I worked in California. Like in California, we were removing trees to prevent wildfires and things like that. So a diverse.
It is very diverse, but engineering is amazing to me how diverse. You say you're an engineer, and that can cover such a huge variety.
One thing I think is kind of interesting is that my specialty, because at University of Illinois is a very flat place, drainage is a problem, and most people don't realize how important drainage is until something starts flooding. Then you realize, oh, we have a drainage problem. But I think, when I was a little girl, did I ever think, oh, one day I want to get a PhD and specialize in drainage? That never crossed my mind when I was a little girl. But it has been a great ride, and I definitely enjoy nature more than I ever did before.
So did you call it greenhouse? Because why? Why did you choose the word greenhouse?
Well, thank you for asking, because there are some people who think that I actually have a greenhouse. I actually get lots of mail from greenhouse suppliers, and but really what I was thinking, and this is somewhat of a biblical concept. Jesus tells a parable of how seed was thrown or scattered in some lands in rocky places, in all these different situations. And I find that when it comes to science and math education or STEM, we have a tendency as a society to just kind of throw seeds to the wind and say, well, good luck. I hope this works for you. You are 13 years old. I hope this week of camp changes your life and you can become an engineer because of this week of camp. But we don't realize how important it is to have a really good soil for those students to flourish in, because those one-time experiences aren't enough, especially for children who are vulnerable, who have food insecurity. They have all kinds of challenges and barriers to entering a field like science or engineering. And we just want to give them so little resources. So the greenhouse is just a metaphor for the type of environment that we want to create so that children can grow. And we want longer term programming so that children have time to develop before we just put them out there in the world and say, good luck.
Go for it, yeah. So I really like how you came up with the acronym, and then being a STEM and a greenhouse. That's just
right. STEM is like a plant.
It's just genius. I am I get excited about people doing creative marketing because it's just so ingenious, the things that we come up with. So the STEM is science, technology, engineering, and math.
That's right.
Helping children grow and nurture in those fields.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So I bet when you were a little girl, you might thought of something like that, of helping people.
Exactly. I think when I was growing up, I think I did want to be a teacher at some point, which I have become a teacher. I wanted to maybe be a journalist and a writer or something like that. And I do write my own copy for like my website and things like that, and even lesson plans. So I guess I'm still writing.
Yep. Still writing. So you a mom?
Yes, I am a mother. I have 2 children. My son is 14. He just graduated from the 8th grade yesterday, and my daughter is 10, Avery and Austin. So, we've been it's kind of been interesting during this whole pandemic, having everyone at home. And since I work from home a lot, it's a little bit challenging having them here all day. But we're excited for the summertime.
Other than changing your style, being an educator, educating them was probably not too difficult. Or was it? How did that go?
Well, you would think it wouldn't be difficult, but there's something about working with your own children that is different than working with other people's children. I have so much more patience with other people's kids.
Oh, I agree.
But also because it's difficult for any parent, I think, even if you know the subject matter, you realize that teachers have they're trained to do what they do.
Right.
They not only do the material, but they know how to teach it and get that information across. And so I typically work with middle school science and math, but it's more difficult to try to teach somebody, an English assignment for a fourth grader or a fifth grader.
Right. So 2 years ago, something happened to you. Can you share a little bit about that?
Well, my husband passed away almost 2 years ago, and it was pretty sudden. He was diagnosed with leukemia, and he died about a week after he was diagnosed. It was such a traumatic event for our family, but I guess I was just very blessed in so many ways that I was prepared. Um, I was prepared financially. I was prepared spiritually, because at that point in my journey, my Christian journey, I guess you could say, I was just more mature than I was maybe 5 years ago or 10 years ago. I didn't have as many struggles spiritually over this situation that I may have had earlier in my walk with Christ. So it's definitely been a change. We've had to change. Our family just felt so small after he was gone.
Yeah.
But I know he would really love the way that my kids and how all the things that I'm doing. He would just love to see us successful and doing what we want to do.
One of my favorite statements for a grave marker is "to be continued."
Yes,
because
yes.
we know we will see them again, and
exactly.
And in going from there. So you made a comment about the title of my podcast. You were designed for greatness. What were your thoughts about that?
Well, I think one of the most interesting aspects of that title is just that, what is greatness? I think so many people think that greatness is about stature in the community, fame, money, fortune, and those things make us great. But one of the things that I've learned in my time, living, is just that greatness is really just doing what God wants you to do, being fulfilled in your own purpose, and that you can get a sense of greatness just doing the thing that that you're supposed to be doing. And that's really what I encourage everyone to do, people that I know, because sometimes it's very easy to just get kind of caught in traps of, okay, I have a degree in this, I have a career this way, and I have to have a certain trajectory to be successful and great. And just to say, no, I'm going to establish greatness for myself. What is it that God wants from me? And that's what I'm going to pursue. And you'll just be so much happier when you do that.
I love that. It is so true, because we compare ourselves.
Exactly.
And
and with social media, it's so easy to do. I often I'll find my friends who have all gone on to different things, and when you get a PhD, all of your friends have PhDs, and they're professors and they're deans and they're department heads, and they're all doing a lot of things, and those things are wonderful and great. But I'm also just so glad for the path that I've chosen. I've chosen to work from home. I chose to spend more time with my children when they were small and growing up. And even now I have a lot more flexibility in my schedule, because I've had my own businesses and my own nonprofit. And it may have meant that financially I didn't have as much, but I feel like the time that I've been able to spend with them is very precious, and it's, you just can't get those years back. So I'm really happy with the choice that I've made, and it's okay. I'm happy for my friends who have made different choices. That was for them, and this is for me.
Yes. I think we all have to find our own path and realize, it was my thought when I came up with the title, "You Were Designed for Greatness," is that we were, and our greatness is not to be compared with the person next to us.
Exactly.
Because if I try to be Keli, I will be a poor imitation, and
I can't be you,
and you can't be me. So we weren't designed to be that. We just need to be us and to begin to celebrate who we are. And when you do that, like you said, you're happy.
Exactly.
It brings a fulfillment that trying to be something else doesn't.
Yes.
And
Someone once asked me, how do you find your passion? It was a recent question. And I will say, well, the thing you're passionate about is the thing that you're willing to do for free. If you're willing to do this and not make any money, which a lot of us who have had nonprofits and even businesses, we've
we've
worked
done it
hard
for free.
for, we've done it for free or very little money. And that's how you know you're passionate about it. If you're going to your job, but then every night you're playing golf or you're gardening or something, and you're doing those things, and you will find what you're passionate about. It's not that hard to do. But yeah.
Do you have any favorite books that have contributed to your mindset and been an encouragement to you?
Well, have you heard of Mennonite in a Little Black Dress by
No.
Rhoda Jansen? Oh my goodness, that book is so funny. So Mennonite in a Little Black Dress it's a memoir. And it's written by a local author. She's a professor at Hope College, but the book has become very successful. And basically, she grew up in a Mennonite community, and just all of her funny childhood experiences. She ends up marrying someone who's atheist, and has a really tumultuous, marriage, and then they end up getting divorced. She gets in a car accident. She ends up living with her parents when she's 40. Like, she takes a sabbatical to heal and to get herself together. And the story, considering how much tragic, things that are happening to her, it is hilarious. It's a book that I read almost every year because it's just so funny. And I kind of like to think that when you kind of find humor in just those bad situations,
Yeah.
it's really nice to be
What
able
was
to
the
do
author
that.
again?
Rhoda Jansen. Rhoda Jansen. I can't really remember the spelling, but Mennonite in a Little Black Dress. And then she has a sequel to her book where she marries an evangelical Christian. And so she kind of goes back, into that. It's different from her Mennonite roots, but just finding her place spiritually as well. It's funny. And then she gets cancer, so it's like, oh my gosh, just what she gets breast cancer, marries this other guy, but she's happy, and I love that. I just love that there's a happy ending to her story.
So it's finding joy no matter what.
Finding joy no matter what, I tell you. And also just her friendships. Sometimes people are in relationships with a spouse or a significant other that aren't bad, but she's always had good friends, family members, support. So
Yeah.
drawing on that is important.
Awesome. Well, and our time has gone rather quickly here. And in wrapping up, if you were to envision the women that are listening to us as we were chatting about all this, do you have any last words of encouragement or thoughts that you would like to share?
Well, let me see. I think that, and I've kind of said this before, but I really would just want to impress upon everyone that, they have all the seeds, they have everything they need already to be great. It's already within you. Sometimes we might have some fear about the future. We're living in a very difficult time right now. We really don't know what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But there's really quite a bit of peace that you can get, like I said, from just continuing to walk in that path that, God has chosen for you, and to be really being very careful to discern what God wants for you in your life. I think it's very important.
Awesome. I love that. Keli, thank you so much for being a guest here today. And as we have made this connection, I'd like to have that continue in some form or other. So again, thanks for being here today. And Could you tell people how to get in touch with STEM if that's something they would like to support, contribute to, or maybe they know someone who needs something?
Exactly. That would be great. I have a website. It's stemgreenhouse.org. There's a contact us page. You can just send me an email. There's an opportunity to donate also on the website. But we're always looking for, we're looking for people of color who are in STEM professions, people who are not people of color who are in STEM professions that are willing to volunteer to provide some opportunities for our students to learn more about these professions. Because like you said, there's so many different things that people can do, and we want to expose them as much as possible.
Awesome. Well, we'll put the links in the description for this podcast so you guys can check it out, but it's stemgreenhouse.org. Again, Keli, thank you very much for being with us today.
All right. Thank you for having me.
Today was amazing. Another wonderful, incredible woman sharing her story. So make sure if you know of anyone that could be a resource to STEM Greenhouse, that you touch base with them, whether you would like to donate your time or your money, or can just be an encouragement to this incredible work that Dr. Christopher is doing. And now, my free gift. This is the last week that this one will be available for you through the podcast. And it is the tool that allows you to stop anxiety in its tracks. Stop the cycle of anxiety when it hits us. And so that is available on my homepage, iVibrantLiving.com. Check it out today. Use those tools yourself and share it with those you love. And as always, this is Donna saying live and love vibrantly.
Thank you for joining us on this powerful episode of the You Were Designed for Greatness podcast. Please share this with others who might enjoy it. For more info on Donna Tashtian or to contact her, visit iVibrantLiving.com.